Yo, what's up everybody? What's going on? Happy Friday. Thank you for joining me. We're gonna be doing some drawing today, some 2D art. I'm very excited to dive into it with you guys. My renders come along quite well. I'm really happy with how it's turned out. We'll get to it in a second. Yeah, I'm excited to just chill and work with you guys for the next couple hours here. We're gonna go till about like 2 hours and so. But what's up everybody? See y'all in the chat. What's up, Tinum? Good to see ya. Yeah, sweet. What's up, Ronan? Yeah, and absolutely, we got Sotomonte running the stream as well. So shout outs to you guys. All right. Before we hop into it, I have some announcements for y'all. First off, there is a submission link. It's live. The link is in the description. And just because there's a submission link does not mean you have to submit. That's the most important thing, right? Please take the time that you guys have to make your art as good as you can make it. Have fun with it. You do not need to submit just because there's a submission link, all right? That submission link is in the description of this video. It's also on the Get Started page on the Discord. If you guys are not part of the Discord server, please head on over, join it. I got that link below for you as well. It's really fun. It's a big old community of passionate, positive artists that are helping each other out, especially during this month-long challenge that we're doing through August. And when we're not doing these, we're doing weekly challenges and a bunch of fun stuff like that. So definitely head on over to the Discord. It's there to help you guys out. So that's announcement number one. Announcement number two, look what I got right here. What is this? What is this? What could this possibly be? This is BossFight stickers. Look at this. Look at this. These are designed by my buddy Gabe Peregrino. And they're freaking awesome. I gave you like a really nice assortment of stickers here. You guys can, you don't have to worry about, stick them on just one thing. You can get them on a few things here. So, these can go on the back of your phone, whatever, go on your helmet if you're into like skateboarding or whatnot. But I'm really happy with how these turned out. So definitely pick some up. They're linked in the description down below. It goes to my website, my print store, noisegrainandlight.com. There's also Endless Engine stickers from the last challenge we did and a bunch of other like photography prints that I've made in the past. So definitely check that out. Get you some stickers. It helps support the challenge. I know it might be a little pricey, for a sticker sheet. I try to keep it as reasonable as I could. The company that also makes them, there's a pretty large overhead for them to make the stickers too. Anyway, just go check them out. They're super fun. Get you some challenge swag while you're doing these challenges. Anything else? Any other shout outs? Got to shout out the sponsors. Lots of awesome prizes this time around. So Rokoko, they're back. They're always supporting these challenges. They have Rokoko Video, which is a no suit needed motion capture solution for you guys, and it's going to help you out on your projects here, especially for this challenge. Link also in the description down below. Rokoko Video, go check that out. We have Kitbash3D as well, hooking you guys up with some assets. We got Embergen over at Jenga Effects. Embergen is free for the month for you guys who want to use that. And then we also have Kaft, who is a really cool Turkish design company, and they got like a bunch of sweet shirts and whatnot. They're giving out top 100 shirts to all the top 100 artists, and first through fifth place, of course, as well. But just wanted to shout out the sponsors, and I think it's time to get into it. All right, y'all. Guy Collins, what's going on? What is going on? You've prepared a 2,000 word essay about my render. Well, speaking of my render, let me pull it up for you. And actually, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show you this first. So we have nothing on my screen. Let me get this going. Boom. All right, this is what we had last week. We started with this last week. My goal here is obviously to do this all in like some crazy 2D style. And that's what we have now. Yeah, this is what we have right now. I filled out the entire background. I added like the little sumo portrait up here, the scaffolding, all the people are animated and stuff. There's some railing, like it did some detail. Now what I want to do on the stream today with you guys, let's just loop this guy. What I want to do on the stream today is a few things. We'll see how far I can get with it. But basically we have the ring right here, right? I want to draw out this ring and block it out just a little bit further, draw it out, and do a few different angles of it so I can actually look like it's 3D, like we're orbiting around this thing. So I'm gonna do that. And then I'm going to, what the heck? This is like playlist thing. And then I'm basically gonna start drawing some people in the foreground, off to the sides, behind the ring as well, just to surround this entire ring with people. So we're gonna do a lot of drawing today, which I'm excited about because I love drawing. It's a blast. All right. Let us begin first with a little bit more detail on this ring, on the blockout. Now, it looks like the angle we have, we're actually not seeing the steps of the ring, which I'm kind of bummed about, but you know, it's all good, I suppose. Okay, so let's block out this ring a little bit more. I have a drawing that I'll show you guys that I put together. Actually, let me bring it in and I'll show you what we're gonna do. Let's see here. Where did I save that to? Few seconds here. I'm pulling this up. All right, I gotta pull it. I have a few drawings that I did this morning that I want to show you guys. Get these going. Oh, here we go. Okay. All right. Apologies. Bear with me. So here's a reference sheet of all the stuff that I'm referencing here. And this is PureRef, by the way, the program called PureRef. And it's totally free. It's great. All right, here we go. Boom. All right, so I just did some quick sketches of the ring to kind of get a sense of the shape of it. This is a little salt basket. We're gonna block that out real quick. This is kind of like the straw that outlines this ring, the steps, the straw on the steps. So this is just giving me an idea of what this looks like. We're gonna block that out very quickly. It'd be cool to do like a little broom. I'll probably just draw the broom inside of Photoshop. There's this bucket, which I'm gonna block out as well, and draw that as well, right? So we're gonna get a few assets, we're gonna block them out, then we're gonna draw them, and then once we have the ring drawn a few times and get it animated in, then we'll go with like the people, try and get some people like this or something. So that's what we're gonna do today. Let's start with it. So first off, let's get this ring going, all right? So the easiest way to do this, I'm probably start with a circle spline, hit R for rotation, hold shift to snap it on the different angles there. And let's make another circle spline. This is gonna be the thickness, T for scale. Scale that down, right? And then I'm gonna select both of those, hold Control Alt, and I'll select a little sweep modifier here. And that second circle spline is our thickness, right? And I'm hitting T for scale just to scale that up and down. It doesn't matter where it is in 3D space. It just knows when you have two splines in a sweep, right? It gets you set up easy, right? Okay, let's scale this one up. Get that ring going nice. And looking at our reference here, it looks like we have that middle area like we have here. Okay, boom. And it's broken up into a couple little pieces. So I'm gonna center this first and foremost. Go ahead and scale this thickness down. Something like this. And just have it sit halfway in the ground, which I think by default, there we go, something like that. Boom. And then let's go ahead and copy this, hit C to make it editable. So now we can actually start moving some polygons around. And I want to select these two guys, maybe these four, I don't know, maybe these two. These two, these two, and these two. And I'm gonna hit UI to invert the selection. And in fact, I think what I'll do is hit UP, and that is break, essentially it breaks it up. And that's the way I memorize all my hotkeys. It's UP spells up, and I'm gonna break it up. So it's gonna split the geometry into two pieces, what we had selected and what we didn't have selected, right? Let's go ahead and hide that sweep. And we will scale this down. And we do want to make sure we delete the geometry that we don't need there. Let's go ahead and hide that guy. So this is kind of basically what the ring looks like. Something like that. Wonderful. And then we have a few like outside ones as well that I want to block in. So what's the best way to do this? I'll probably just start with a cylinder, rotate it 90, holding shift, and let's bring this guy out. And we can actually reference this sweep here, the thickness or the size of this circle spline, right? And it looks like it's 2.1832 centimeters. And I'm just gonna put that into the radius of this. That didn't work. Why doesn't that work? Is it times 2? Let's try. So you can do that number times 2, and maybe that's right. That doesn't look right. I don't know why. Anyway, we'll eyeball it. Get it in there halfway. That should just be fine, right? Cool. Let's get that to the edge. Bring it in just a touch. Control drag it over to copy it. Select both of those with shift. R for rotation, control drag, holding shift to snap it, right? So it snaps right on 90. Perfect. We can take all of these and kind of make a little bit more room because I want to put a cylinder right up in there too. So let's just bring the height down on all these guys. And I'm actually gonna Control C, Control V these guys, R for rotation, and I'm gonna get these going on at 45. Let's get that top view real quick. Just kind of bring all these guys out. Nice. Select those top 4. Bring the height down. And then just kind of guide them into place. Nice. Okay. And we can hide the sweep there. Boom. Now from camera view, this looks like that. All right. So next thing I want to do, let's make a bucket and a little salt basket. And I'm just going to do that in a new project file. It's going to be a lot easier. So what we'll do, let's make a cylinder. I'm also going to make a person for scale to know how big this bucket is. I'm going to scale it down here. Let me say our bucket can be about this big. Bring it up. And this is just a blockout. This is just so that we can like draw it in the reference. I'm gonna make it editable, and this is going off of like this kind of style bucket, right? So let's go ahead and let's actually get rid of these horizontal lines. And we already made it editable. Yes, of course we can undo it, you know, and get rid of those height segments. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it, if let's say we can't go back, we make it editable, how the heck are we gonna do that? So UL is a loop selection. You can go to select and find, where is it? Loop selection, UL, that's your shortcut. 1, 2, 3, holding shift. And then we wanna dissolve these, and I believe MN is the shortcut. But if you go up in here, dissolve, yep, boom. You can also control delete, does the same thing. That way when we scale up this these top faces, and I'm gonna do UL again for a ring selection, or a loop selection rather, T for scale, and we'll just scale it up a little bit, just like this. This is the general shape of our bucket. MW is gonna inset this, so we can always right click. All this stuff is from just a right click, and it's inset, right? MW, or I think I is also, shortcuts are kind of weird in Cinema, I'm not gonna lie. D is gonna be our extrude tool, or we can just control drag this down and scale it down, right? So we have our bucket shape. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so from here, we're gonna make a couple cuts. So KL is a loop cut, or loop slash path cut. And I believe that is, again, accessed from this menu here. If you right click, loop path cut, these are all your cut options. And let's go into a side view. And I'll make, let's see. We'll make 1, 2, 3, just eyeballing it. We'll go back to our faces, UL, we'll grab these guys. Holding shift to get all that, and then I'm gonna hit D for extrude, and just kind of move that out a little bit. That's the idea, right? Now actually, before I do that, I'm gonna grab this bit here. I'm gonna grab the other side. Should be this guy, holding shift. And then we'll hit D, extrude that out. Awesome. I'll select all these. I don't want to extrude that. And yes, I could probably do this with symmetry. I'm just lazy, which sounds ridiculous. I'm gonna hit D again. Those go in. And like, technically these should come in a little bit more. We don't need to be so precise with it, because we're just using this for a drawing, but what the heck? I'm a perfectionist. I waste a lot of time doing this. I'm gonna hit T and just scale them. Let's see here, scale them. I should probably rotate the whole thing. There we go, so they all scale uniformly back to the line. And they can all just come in just a little bit like that. Cool, great. Little bucket set up. This technically keeps going, so let me grab that, hit D, come up with it, check our reference. Yep, just comes up a touch. Awesome. And then I want to make like a little arc here, and the easiest way, there's so many ways, but what's the easiest way? I guess I'll just do it with a spline. We can hide the figure, we can delete them actually. Don't really need them anymore. All right, let's go to the point mode. Grab the spline. Boom, boom. I'll just make a point there. there. Like, Clint, what the heck? That looks horrible. Well, yeah, I agree. I'm gonna grab all these, make them hard interpolation so there's no like small little Bezier curves that are gonna screw us up. I'm gonna grab these and I'm just gonna chamfer them. Let's see, chamfer, boom. Something like that. Yeah, that's fine. I'll grab that spline and then we're gonna hold Alt and we're gonna pop them into an extrude. And by holding Alt, what that does is makes what you have selected an automatic child of what you are selecting, right? So if I didn't hold Alt, it would just spawn this extrude. I forget, I get it mixed up. Modifier, maybe it's a modifier. I feel like these are modified. Anyway, then you drop the spline into the extrude. By holding Alt on the spline, you just kind of like skip a step. In the extrude, let's go ahead and bring that down like this. Great, great, center it. And I'm actually gonna go a step further and like bring these spline handles out just a little bit so they kind of pop out pop out from this thing. Boom, boom, like that. Wonderful, wonderful. And finally, just a little work on the shape here. Let's bring that down. Kind of take, I didn't even save this. We're living on the edge. I'm gonna take all this Alt G for group. And I'm just gonna work the shape of it a touch. And reference the actual reference right here, this guy. So it's a little bit like shorter and wider. Right? We got this guy here too. These handles go way up. And again, this is pure reference. All right, and it looks like there's only two on that, two like rings on that thing. So let's, you know what? I don't even have to draw the second ring. I'll just leave it as is. I feel like it'll just be easier that way. All right, let's bring these guys up a little bit more and out. And same for the handle. Let's bring it up. Cool. L will actually let you move your axis. And that feels a little bit better to me. I think we're good with this, and it will help us draw this in Photoshop, all right? So let's just call this bucket and copy it over to our blockout scene. Come on now, what the heck? Copy, paste. Here we go. And since we used a figure as like a scale reference, we actually have this bucket the correct size, right? So we can move this wherever we want. We'll come back. We'll get that going, right? Let's go back into that scene. I can go ahead and delete this, and then time for some tea. And yeah, this is a standing desk. I love this thing. I don't even know what brand it is. Not that it matters or anything. I bought it from a friend secondhand, and I have one of these like draft chairs that are super tall. So I'm sitting, but I can also stand if I want to as well. It's really nice. Having the standing desk is really nice for, you know, I guess for health. You can stand up, pace around. Especially for us artists too, you know, because we're in the chair a lot. We're at the computer a lot, that's for sure. The This tea is some black tea. My buddy got it for me from China as a gift, and I don't even know what it is. I can't even read the label. But it's some good black tea. Yeah, I don't even know if you can see this. No, that's just a dark pit. Moving on. Okay. Let's make a salt basket. Let's bring out a little friend here. And we'll bring out a cube. This one's gonna be easy. T for scale. Scale this mug down. Bring them up, scoot them over. C to make it editable. Right? It's so tiny, but you can see how it goes from a cube. If I hit C, it goes to a little polygon here. We'll go to our face mode, grab that, move it down just a bit. That's probably the shape of our salt basket. Right, this little guy, we're going for this guy right here. And this one's so easy. We're gonna inset this. So MW is the inset tool. We'll get that just like that. It's pretty thin. And so we can move this like this, right? Or if we hold control, it'll actually give us some new geometry. So I'm just gonna do that. Boom, salt basket. And then what we'll do is bevel this thing. So what you can do, let's grab the cube. Let's drop a bevel, I think these are modifiers. Drop a bevel modifier into it. And we're beveling everything. We don't want to bevel everything. We just want to bevel a certain part of it. So we're gonna actually mess with this little selection option right here. And in the cube, let's go ahead and just grab the edges that we want to bevel. So the outer edges we want to bevel, right? Pretty much everything except, so here, I'll do that. I'll Control A, we'll select it all. And I don't want to bevel these rings around the top, and I don't want to bevel these little guys right up here. And I think that's gonna be everything. So we have all these selected, right? We go up to select and we can store selection right here. Boom. We go to the bevel, we grab that little selection tag, drop it in there, and that looks horrible. So what the heck? Maybe what we gotta do is get better at 3D. Come on, Clint, what the heck, man? This is where you guys see me fail pretty hard. All right, do I grab these? I don't know. Probably not. Let's go to the selection and we'll go update the selection. Dude, that looks so bad. I'm gonna do it the horrible way and what on earth, dude? Was it because that's selected? It's gotta be, right? Did I have it right from the beginning? Why? Gross, guys. Well, here, look, I ain't got the time. I am going to select both of these. And we are going to connect objects plus delete. All right, so we got this ugly thing. UL for the loop selection. That's not gonna do it. I'm just gonna grab this geo and delete it. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's all just so disgusting. And I'm sure this is the worst way to, oh, do I know why? Maybe I know why. It's because I didn't get this one. Because I didn't get this one. Let's update that selection. Let's give myself some credit. Dang it! Ugh. What on earth? Let me select all this. UO. All right, so edges 28. Hit UO. It's gonna like optimize. That's the shortcut for optimize. Right click. It's in here somewhere. There it is. Boom. Optimize. And yeah, it looks like, okay, let's try it with points. We have 16 points. UO. Optimize. That's gonna basically combine any points that are really close to each other. And that's not working. That's just so annoying. All edges except the corners. But no, man, if I was good, that's the thing. If I was good at this game, I would be winning right now. But, you know, when you live stream, sometimes you just, you know, sometimes this happens. Dude, why? How many edges do I miss? This is brutal, y'all. This is freaking brutal. I'm just hoping that one of these attempts, so like this one, okay, update, and it still doesn't work. Darkness. Darkness. Absolute darkness. Okay. Okay. All right. Bridge tool. What's the bridge tool? Let's get the line out. And I'm only gonna do this. Let's be smart. Let's cut this down the middle this way. Let's cut it this way. Let's grab these points here. And we'll delete all that. And we also need to make a cut there, make a cut there. Like by the time it takes me, within the time it takes me to set up symmetry, this will basically be finished. Could have been done by now. Let's see. I'm gonna hit L. I want to move this anchor point to the middle of this thing, right? And the best way, let's see if this works. The axis center tool. I want to move the axis to the furthest Z and the furthest negative X. And that looks like it's right there where we want it. Execute. And when I don't really care about the Y, but hey, let's do it. Y can go bottom Y, execute, bam. Now, when I zero this out, reset transformation, it's right there in the middle. I'll select it, holding Alt. Let's get a little symmetry on it. And can you do ×4 symmetry? I don't know. I feel like you should be able to. But apparently, you can't? I don't know. Maybe you can. I'll just do it again. I don't care. Watch me do it. Boom. All right, done. All right, so now I'll just link all this stuff up. Go to edge mode. Bridge tool. What is the bridge tool? Where you at? MB. And dude, why? What? Let's hide all this. Get rid of our friend here. How is this not? Not important. Not important. This is our basket, guys. Wow. Can't win them all. Just copy this thing. Paste this thing. It's good enough. It's good enough. All right, that's our little salt basket. It'll be up in here somewhere. The broom I will do just in Photoshop as we draw it out, right? So let's make sure this is sitting on the ground. Make sure our bucket is sitting on the ground. Awesome. We got our ring looking nice. All right, so this bucket, I'm just gonna bake this all down. Bam, same for the basket. Bam, okay. There we go. We'll get the salt going probably here in the corner. Technically, this bucket is like on the ground. Let's get that axis center tool, drop the Y all the way to the bottom. Let's get this water bucket in the corner here. Scale it up. For the sake of the render, I'm just gonna get it up in the ring. I know it's not accurate, but hey, going for art, not historical accuracy here. Boom. Alright, let's get this cube. Little salt bucket rotated. Something like that. Cool. I don't really mind that it's clipping. That's okay. Let me get our assets in there. Okay, great. So let's see. We want to pull a couple of these frames as reference. I'm going to get rid of the characters holding Alt. I'm just going to click these little stopwatches once, twice. Or I guess they're not stopwatches. They're like little circles. Boom. All right. So here's what I'll do. I need a reference frame for the center. I'm actually gonna hide the bucket in the cube or in the basket for now. Let's find that middle frame. Like somewhere right here. And this is such a small reference. Such a tiny little thing we're drawing, but you know, that's what we're doing. So I'm just gonna grab that. We'll go into Photoshop and let's go ahead and make a new layer here, a new file. And this will be 3840 by 2160. Paste this in and scale it up. All right. All right, so that's what we're working on. I also want to grab a couple angles of, because it's 3D obviously, right? So I'm gonna write this down. This is frame 46 that we're on, in case I need to come back to this. So that's 46, and then let's grab a 0, frame 0 we'll grab, and then maybe one in between, like here or something. Let's see. Frame 4, frame 3. Yeah, we'll grab frame 3 as well. Sweet. All right, so here comes frame 3. And frame 0. All right, cool. I guess it doesn't really matter which one I start with. I guess the last thing too, I do want to double check. I might cheat the ring forward a little bit. Like, to me, that just feels better. Even though it's technically like not correct, it just feels a little bit better. And I think I'm gonna go with that. Once we get set up here, I'll hop in with you guys and hang out for a little bit. That's the frame we want right there, boom. Reference frame, cool. We want 3. And 0. All right. So I have never animated anything in my life in terms of like 2D animation, so there's probably better ways to go about this, but I'm having a good time with it, and I think that's all that really matters. How you guys doing? With a show of hands, who's working on their art today? I know you guys are. That's why we're here, you know, hanging out, working on our art together. How's it been too, by the way, with this challenge? Like, a lot of you have done these before. Is this one different in any way? I'm curious to hear how you guys are doing in the challenge. If you need any sort of support, if you have anything you're stuck on, we can chat here for just like a little bit, and then I'm gonna hop back into the art. But we also do these like Monday meetups on Discord throughout the challenge. So every Monday, this upcoming Monday, I'll be on the Discord server with you guys and some of the moderators as well. We'll be bringing you onto the stage and just chatting for 5 minutes about your art. Yes, we have a lot of people in the chat working on their art right now. That's what's up. Yeah. Character animator. Yeah, that's what I'm actually gonna use for the actual characters. Yeah. Frankie, is it okay to use 2 of the camera views and transition between them for the challenge? I think that would be some outside of the box thinking. I'm down for it. If you can make it work, go for it. See what you can do. Yeah, Scouty. All right. Definitely. Yeah, I love environments as well. That's kind of what I'm used to doing. So I feel like I'm being pushed as well during this thing. Do I live in Japan? No, I wish I did. My God, that'd be cool. No, this stuff here, this and this was actually here at this house before I even got here, which is crazy. I love it. Tomek, all right, so you said you're doing well so far, and you need a constant influx of inspiration though. I know what you mean. You gotta feel like you're making something cool along the way. And you're worried about the polishing stage. Yeah, you know, I'd keep going, keep having fun. As long as you're enjoying what you're doing, I think you're gonna be in a good place, for sure. And as long as you can get to something that is deliverable at the end of the day, I guess that matters too. Yeah, sweet, Tomek, I'm glad you enjoyed the Kitbash stuff. Fabricio, what up, dude? First place, Endless Engines in the house. What's up, man? You're having fun as well? Heck yeah. Out of curiosity, how much time do I spend on my piece of art every day? That's a good question. Honestly, not much. It's probably in the like hour-and-a-half to 2 hours max per day that I spend on this. I'd like to spend more. I should probably allocate some more time this upcoming week. I would love to do that, so yeah. When do you tell yourself that you're done and you're ready to render? That's a tough one. That's kind of on you to decide, of course, but that's kind of what the community is for, or other artists are for. You can show them your work, get some feedback, and feel, you know, kind of, you don't have to do what they say, certainly not, but it could be a good like barometer of where you're at, and you can weigh their opinions about your art and decide whether or not you feel strongly enough to implement their notes, right? Sweet. Okay, yeah, this challenge is the fastest you've ever done any of these, in a good way. Yeah, no, it's great. We all get faster the more we do it, especially if you're working on a certain style, certain workflow. The more you do it, the quicker you'll be. So that's good to hear. What editing software should I use after rendering all my frames, like color grading, motion blur, etc.? What's up, Fwed? How you doing, man? So I would use DaVinci Resolve just because it's free and it's made for color grading. It's a fantastic software. There's lots of tutorials for it. The layout is really nice and pretty easy to understand. They kind of separate everything in sections at the bottom of the screen. So definitely DaVinci. I would look into DaVinci for that. Yeah. I know this month is flying by, huh? Blockout to next phase. All right, how do you do that? RDX. So depending on if you're blocking out with like how I was modeling just now, like real rudimentary shapes, I would start looking for those assets. Or if they're assets, you're kind of blocking out with assets. And that helps you skip a step. But I mean, there's many ways, like a blockout. Let's say you're just doing like, I watched this vending machine tutorial in Blender with the grease pencil. Great tutorial. And he started out with a blockout, which was literally just a cube or a rectangle. He found his camera angle, and he added some little feedies to it. He added a couple insets and just generally blocked it out. He sketched it out in 3D. Now, how does he go from that to the final? Definitely check out that tutorial if you can find it. It's called like 2D to 3D process, grease pencil, and Blender. It's a vending machine like on like a, you know, kind of a little rocky, grassy ground thing. Super cool, super cool tutorial. And you watch him do it. You watch him go from blockout to final, and it's just adding more detail to your geometry. That's it, really. Texturing, all that good stuff. So that's if we're talking hand modeling, right? Of course, there's assets out there, right? So a lot of people will just block out with the final assets. or my stage here, it's like I have this stage, but if I wanted to, keep going with it, in my case, that's going to be a 2D drawing. I'm using the 3D blockout as reference for my 2D drawing, and I'm just drawing over top of that blockout and adding more detail to it. So it's kind of more of a question of like, what details do you want to add to your art? And you can just infinitely keep adding details. It's crazy. Very fun. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna hop in. Let's get drawing, yeah? Let's do it. All right, so I wanna do the most evil thing I can possibly do. I will first off save my project file. Not as, come on now. Come on now. Yes, on my computer. I am going to enable Windows ink. And we'll see how that goes. And it takes a minute to like enable for some weird reason. Come on, Windows ink. There it is. Now I have pen pressure going. Amazing. All right, brush tool. I'm using this little pencil brush that I downloaded from some YouTube tutorial. It's all set up here. It's got pen pressure for this transfer, pen pressure for the shape dynamics. It's got some scattering and texture to make it look like a pencil, right? And I'm just gonna get up in here. Let's go ahead and drop the opacity of all these guys so we can see what we're doing. Let's take this guy and make it black. Is that gonna be easier to see? Control I. It's easier on the folks watching this from their bed at nighttime. That's who it's easier for. Okay, let's start with this one. And that's nearly invisible. My goodness. Sorry, folks in bed. We're going like, we're doing this, all right? Okay, so we'll trace this first one. Holding shift here is gonna help us get that real straight line. Nice, 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 nice. Okay, so these guys are like little straw pieces. So kind of looking like little straw guys just chilling. Wonderful. Boom. Just like that. Same deal. All the way back. All the way to the end. Amazing. Amazing, 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 amazing. I love it. Already, it's looking sweet. Ah, get. When's the due date? The due date, when's the due date? The due date is on. Can anyone answer our friend's question? I'm curious if y'all know. Does anyone know the due date? No, no one yet. It's August 27th, y'all, 11:59 p.m. PST. You know what's crazy though is I have to like remember how many lines I'm drawing. No, I don't. Because the difference between this view and the other view is pretty large. Dude, this thing just keeps going. Jeez. There we go. Sweet. And we'll just give this a little bit of detail and texture here. Awesome. Fantastic. Now, if I'm being smart about this, and I should be, I would like to use symmetry for this. So we'll get there. Oh, there's got to be a way to set up symmetry in Photoshop. I know there is, but I don't know how to do it. All right, let's get this guy going though. This would be the ring. Wonderful. And I don't need to add too much detail to that just because I don't want to muddy it up. Cool. Awesome. So I can trace all day long. It's hard to do this from memory though. All right, so go to the butterfly and select what type. Oh! Hey! Look at that. Look at that. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I love it. So if I do this, will that be perfectly aligned with this one? Ah, it won't be. So I'll have to do it the manual way, in terms of the manual symmetry way, which won't be too bad. All right, how does this work? I'm trying to understand the shape of this. Okay. And we'll get this guy going around. I'm just gonna like not worry too much about I think it's fine. I'm not gonna worry too much about the detail on the backside, because I think the less detailed things get, further away they are, right? I think that works. I think that works. Cool. Same for this guy back here. Wonderful. And yeah, I know I said I'll do the symmetry, but wonderful. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for there we go. Sweet. Sweet, sweet. Okay. So that's one down. Shall we add some shading? Let's try it. But I'll do it in a separate layer. Sweet. All right, and let's get like these guys. Awesome, awesome. I'll just hit the ring a little bit as well. Sweet. All right. Looks good, looks good, looks good. I'm happy with that. As a sketch, I think going back in and doing some like really nice line art is what I'll have to do. But I want to start with this sketch and see what it's gonna look like when we animate it, right? So we're gonna do that here. Once we have these other three, we'll see how it feels, right? So that's let's see, shading. All right, let's move on to the next angle. Now these two, I feel like I need to match the specific amount of like little straw pieces I'm drawing. Maybe I don't, but since they're so close to each other in terms of when they're animated, who knows? We'll figure it out together. Which one is Alright, so technically it's this one. Alright. And I'm just giving myself a little bit more of a, you know what, I can just do this with the pencil. It's hard, it's just hard to see. There we go. All right, cool. Sweet. So you guys are asking what the heck I'm doing. So basically, let's back all the way up. This is my art that I'm working on. Right, so I'm trying to go for a 2D animated style. I hand drew the background, and last week, we made like an animated crowd system, and I populated it with a handful of like hand-drawn crowd people that I then used After Effects to populate this background image with, and I wrapped that around a plane, or I wrapped a plane around the camera. So when we're moving in 3D space, it actually looks like it's scrolling by, right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to mess with the new styles this time, 2D style. And really it just comes down to me doing a lot of drawing, which is exactly what I wanted to do this time because, you know, it's fun to try new stuff, right? So what I'm doing now is actually hand drawing the ring, right? And I'm doing it in 3 pictures because or 3 drawings rather, because we can see that we're orbiting in 3D and I want it to look like it's actually orbiting, right? So once I get these 2 other drawings done, I'm gonna go in After Effects and animate it and see if I can get it to feel like it's actually a 3D camera move. And then I'll pop that into the final render here and we'll see what it looks like. So that's what I'm doing. I'm using C4D to actually block out my scene, and I'm using these little renders here as a reference for me inside of Photoshop, right? So I have this C4D render going, and I'm using it to trace this background, and that's where we're at. That's what we're doing today. Give it a little bit of detail. Feels nice to me. I had the weirdest dream last night. So I dreamed that I was doing a video with Tim and Eric. And if you guys don't know Tim and Eric, there's like really weird sketch. I don't even know if sketch is the right word. They're just some weird comedy dudes. They're really funny. And I was in like Tim's office or Eric's office, and the other guy was like in a meeting behind closed doors. I was like, what the heck? And they were like, yeah, you know, I know it's 6 o'clock. I know you should technically be going home, but you need to hang on just a little bit because Eric or Tim, whatever the other guy was, he's in this meeting and he's meeting with some executives and you just gotta wait for him. And I was like, okay, it's 6 o'clock. I should be going home. And like an hour and a half went by and he still wasn't out. I was like, what the heck? And like one of the guys, the guy who I was like in his waiting room, he was chill and he was like, man, I got cancer. I was like, oh God, that's horrible, dude. That's rough. And then like hour and a half goes by. I finally opened the office door to the other guy, to Eric or to Tim. And I go in there and it feels like what is that? Like pro bass, it feels like a pro bass fishing shop. It's like all done up with like guns on the wall, like hunting rifles on the wall, like deer heads and stuff. I'm like, that's so odd. Like, why would you do your office like that? And it was huge too. It was like massive. And like, I just remember being so mad. I was like, I waited an hour and a half and I'm supposed to be at home with my wife having dinner. What the heck? What's taking so long? I'm out. So you guys are so selfish and unprofessional. And I just remember like taking off, and that was my dream. I don't know what the heck that was or what that came from, but yeah, that was my random Tim and Eric dream. We're at this point, guys. We're talking about random dreams because this art is taking a minute, you know, but it's cool. We're hanging out. We're chilling. I think the craziest dream I ever had was when I was a kid, and I had this dream, like, no joke, I had this dream, I swore it was like 30 times. And I've only had reoccurring dreams like 3 times in my life. I'll tell you all 3 of them. So the first one was definitely the creepiest. I grew up in Florida, and I moved out of Florida when I was 6, right? So I wasn't there long. I was just there for my childhood, for the very early parts of my childhood, the beginnings, right? And I had this dream. We lived in this 1-story house, and in the dream, I woke up as a little kid in my bedroom. Lights were off, you know, as you would if you actually woke up at night. And I noticed that underneath my door, I saw a sliver of light. I was like, huh, who is up at this hour? So I get out of bed, and I walk over to my door, I crack it open, and the living room lights are on. I'm like, okay, that's weird. And I hear someone wrapping presents, because maybe it was Christmas at the time or something. And we had our Christmas tree up, right? So yeah, definitely. Christmas time, wrapping presents this late at night. Seems right. You know, you want to wrap the presents while the kids are sleeping. Makes sense. So I walk out, and let me make sure I'm getting the story right here. Because at a certain point, I think this was actually before I got out of my room. At a certain point, this like sand started seeping through the bottom of my door and coming up onto my bed. And I was like, nah, I'm not about this right now. Definitely not about this right now. So that's why I go outside, right? And I run to my mom, who's wrapping presents. And it's crazy because she doesn't even acknowledge me. She doesn't even know that I'm there. And I remember the sand, this pool of sand trickling out of my bedroom, like seeping across the floor, and it follows me all the way to the living room where I found my mom wrapping presents. And I climb up my mom. She doesn't know I'm there still, but I climb up my mom to get away from this sand stuff. And dude, so creepy. The sand starts like enveloping my mom and like climbing up to get me. And it comes all the way up, covers her face, and right before it touches me, I'm like perched on top of her head, right before it touches me, I wake up. And I had that dream like 30 times as a kid. Super creepy, super jacked. So I said I was gonna tell you about 3 reoccurring dreams. The only 3 I've ever had, that being one of them. That was the earliest one. The other 2 was when I was living in Chino Hills. We moved to Chino Hills, which is like 45-hour east outside of Los Angeles. And I lived there from 6 to 16 years old. And there we had a 2-story house, literally right up against the hills of Chino, right? So this recurring dream actually starts, dude, that's so creepy. All 3 recurring dreams start the same way, where I wake up as if I was actually awake in my bed. And the way our house was laid out is that I opened up my room, opened up the door, and basically went to like a there was this half wall, you know, kind of like a railing, but it was like drywall, and you can put your hand on it like a little railing before you go down the stairs. It was kind of guiding you down the stairs. And as you approach this wall, you have to kind of turn a corner to go down the stairs, right? So you can't see the stairs as you're approaching them. You have to turn the corner and then go down. And I remember it being like 3 in the morning, and I come right up to the wall there. And as I turn the corner, this thing, I don't know what, this thing just goes right at me. And it nearly gave me a heart attack. That happened like 3 or 4 times. And then the third recurring dream was the weirdest one, because it was like, actually, I couldn't tell if it was real or not, because I would wake up and hear a pack of wild dogs just barking and running down the hill. And before I could like wait, they would wake me up, and before I could go look at them out the window, I would rush to the window and then they would be gone. And that happened like 5 times. I'm like, what are the odds that this pack of wild dogs wakes me up 5 times and isn't there every time? And I remember too, I'm like, oh, I remember these dogs again. I'm gonna be quick, because they escape me every time, and I never saw them. I only heard them. So weird. So those are my recurring dreams. All right, I think that's it. That looks like everything, right? Let's give it some... Ooh, maybe here we see... but you probably wouldn't really... Okay, let's add the shadows like we did. Awesome. We'll get these like little edges of the straw here. Johnny Bosworth. My goodness, the man, the myth, the legend. Welcome. Dude, you're just chilling eating some mint Oreos. That's what's up, man. Those things are pretty good. Watching the CG Master. Hey, but I am no CG Master, because if you were here earlier, you see that I had some trouble just beveling a simple old edge. And I ain't even doing CG right now. I'm up in the Photoshop doing some drawing. Good to see it, man. Was thinking of trying your hand at a satisfying render in Blender. Do it. Why not? It's super fun. It's super fun. J-Boz, why don't you get up on the Discord and join us for these weekly challenges? You don't have to do a full month one. A weekly will do, you know? And it's a good way to hop in and practice. Good to see you, dude. All right, we're just doing some shading here, J-Boz. And then we got one more ring to do. And then we're gonna see how this animates. Yeah. That's what the eraser's for. We'll get it. Let's get that eraser at E. up in there. Looking good. Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Freaking bucket problems, dude. Rough. CG Fiction also working on the challenge with us. Good times all around. Okay. Nice. Looking good. That's our second one. That's our first one, the main one. Now we got the final one. Let's bring this guy up. Sweet. What else do we want to talk about? Okay, so I can talk about last weekend. Last weekend was crazy. So last weekend, starting Friday at 7 p.m., I did a 48-hour film challenge, a 48-hour film race. And it's the first time I did it since 2008, I believe. And when I did that in 2008, first off for you guys, what is a 48-hour film challenge? So basically you have to make a short film in 48 hours. You have to write it, you have to come up with the idea, you have to do everything within 48 hours. Nothing pre-written, none of that business. It's all just fresh off the dome. And you got 48 hours to do it. So, last time I did it in 2008, I was living in Georgia. And it came down to the last, like, 4 minutes. Last 5 minutes. And the upload limit, for some reason, I spent, of course, 40 hours straight on this thing. Sleepless nights. Absolutely brutal. And it came down to the last 4 minutes, like I'm saying here. And the upload limit was, for some reason, 15 megabytes. Back in 2008, it was probably one of those 15 megabyte upload limit times, where like people didn't have much storage space these days, or back in the day. So my file at the last minute of upload, as I'm uploading this thing, comes out as 15.1 megabytes. And dude, I straight up cried. So brutal. I couldn't believe it. I spent 2 freaking whole days working on something to upload it, submit it into this film festival, this challenge, and I come over 0.1 megabytes over the upload limit on the final minute, and I get disqualified. So that was 2008. The next time I did that challenge was last weekend. And it was similar in a lot of ways, right? So we have 48 hours. Working up to that week, of course, I am trying to do my best to build a team of people who will be able to help on those 2 days of shooting, right? So I'm working with my buddy Jan, who's shooting it, working with my wife Kim, who's helping write it. I got some actor friends. Christian was helping produce it, right? So I was getting the A team together, as many people as I could find. And I'm doing all this about a week before the actual Friday where this thing goes live, which was last Friday, right? So on Friday, around 5 o'clock, everyone's gathered at this studio, Las Palmas studio on Sunset, right? Somewhere in LA, right? And everyone's gathered there. There's 159 teams participating in this film challenge, 48-hour film challenge. And we draw our genres from a hat, is what we do, right? I can't tell, is this? I'm just gonna go to the end with it. So we're drawing our genres from a hat, and we pull mockumentary / mystery. So that means we can do either mockumentary or mystery, or we could do both. And since we actually had an idea for mockumentary and mystery, kind of, we decided to do both, and we were off to the races. We couldn't have been more excited about pulling that because, man, we were ready. We were ready. By the time they were still calling other teams to pull up their genres, I was on the phone with my wife, and we were writing, and Jan was there. We were writing and coming up with a good old time, right? And once everyone had their genres selected, they announced the three very, very other important aspects, which are the character you must include in your short, the prop that you must include, and the line of dialogue that must be included. And everyone, it's the same for everybody, right? So once everyone had all that information, we were off to the races. That's Friday at 7 p.m. Okay, last Friday at 7 p.m. Dude, we were up until 3:45 a.m. writing the script, and it was so, it was fun. Don't get me wrong, it was super fun. But it was so crunchy that we basically only had time to get a V1 script out. And that was our shooting script at 3:45 in the morning. And Christian, he was like, all right, guys, this is it. He sent the script out to everybody at 3:45 in the morning. And we show up the next day, wake up at 5:45, get 2 hours of sleep, and we take off to set, which we're shooting at my buddy Jan's place, right? And we have like 12 people show up, got a nice crew. I actually ended up acting in the thing because we couldn't find another actor. We needed another actor, so I had to step in and act, which was tough because first off, I have so many things on my mind directing it, right? So it's like, okay, you gotta make sure you get all the stuff you need for the edit. You gotta focus on other actors' performances. You gotta make sure everyone's doing their job right and has a task, all this. And then, and I'm acting. Did I memorize lines? Absolutely not. So I'm in the hot seat, and I'm like trying to figure out this character who's just a wild, wacky character. Think like Ben Stiller from Dodgeball, kind of like that, right? Is what I'm going for. So it's wacky, right? And we shoot for 12 hours that day. We shoot for a full 12 hours. It was super fun, really, really fun. A lot of work, but at this point, I'm only on 2 hours of sleep. I come back to the house with all the footage, right? And I offload everything. My buddy Alec was putting the edit together, and he actually ends up staying at my place until 6 a.m. while I get like 6 hours of sleep that night, because I knew I was gonna have to wake up and continue the edit, right? So thank God for him. He worked on that edit through the morning and got me set up to continue the edit later that day. But when I woke up at 6 a.m., I was like, dang, the edit just wasn't as far as it needed to be, and that's okay. No hard feelings on Alec there, because it's tough. What we realized, this is what I didn't realize. I did not know this. I did not realize how difficult it was to edit a documentary. Oh my God. Even though it was scripted, even though we had lines, there was a lot of like riffing and not brainstorming, but improv on set, right? A lot of that. So there was a lot of stuff that was off book, off script, that needed to be sifted through and put into the actual edit to craft a story, right? And I did not realize how hard that was and how much time that would take. So I kind of had to restart and build it from scratch, and that just took so long. I had sound designers, I had composers ready to go, but there was no edit for them to work on because the edit just wasn't ready. It took so long. So it got down to like you know, delivery is that day. Delivery is Sunday at 7 p.m., 7:30. And it's like Sunday at 5, and there's not even a final edit. And I'm like, oh my God. The last thing I can do here is not deliver and waste everyone's time who donated their time. This is all free. Everyone donated their time to do this. And if I'm coming out here and be like, hey guys, I didn't make it, I couldn't have that. Could not have that. So what do? I keep crunching. It's hairy. It's super stressful. And I basically send my buddy Adam, who's doing the music. I'm like, dude, I know you were supposed to write custom music for this, but can you just pull some like stock music from the internet, please, and put it in here, because I'm not gonna have time to do music, and it's a documentary. It's a mockumentary. It needs music. That's like the whole thing. So he was doing that while I was still trying to get the edit done, and it has to be under 4 minutes, or sorry, it has to be over 4 minutes and under 7 minutes, right? And when I put the full edit together, yo, it wasn't even 4 minutes. I was like, oh my God, I only have so much time. Like 2 hours are left on this thing. So the editing got a little, not as tight as I would have liked. It was really tight up towards the top. It was feeling really good up towards the top. Not that I disliked it, because honestly, at the end of the day, the freaking thing was hilarious. I was really proud of all of us for pulling together and pulling off that short. And I'd like to post it up here on my channel at some point. But basically what happened in the last 30 minutes of this thing was everything came together. Adam sent the music. Jan was sending over like the final credits. He was sending over a bunch of like AI art still frames that I was using to tell the story. And it all came together in the last like 10 minutes. I didn't even have time to do a sound mix. I didn't have time to switch out any music. I didn't have time to polish anything. Like literally what was exported was like the V1.5. And that's what we had to turn in. And that's what we had in 48 hours. We delivered 2 minutes and 30 seconds before the deadline. It was hairy, my God. It was so hairy. But we delivered. So that was last Sunday. Not even a week ago. But I learned a lot. I really did. And it was really fun. And I would do it again. So I have plans on how to do it better next time. And yeah, at the end of the day, it was a positive experience. I really enjoyed it. It was nice to just make something that didn't have to be monetized. It didn't have to have a, brand behind it. It didn't have to do well. It just had to be fun. And that was the best part. So Monday, I wake up and I was just dead tired. We did our mod chat, and then we did the weekly Discord meetup. I was so tired. I ended up going to the spa after that, just hitting the steam room, getting a massage, chilling out. It was exactly what I needed. And then I got a massage the next day too, because I was so beat. I was so tired. And yeah, it's Blenderman. It is a public event. They have them in every city across the world. It's called 48 Hour Film Project. Definitely check it out. It's super fun. A great way for you and your friends to get together and make something cool just for fun. I want to do more of them. I'll definitely be doing more of them. And I'm excited, guys, because we are close to seeing how this animates. All right. Trying to think of any other stories I can tell here. There was that time that all of us at Corridor caught a robber while we were eating pizza. That was pretty sweet. That's a classic one. You guys may have heard that, but I'll tell it again. It's a pretty short one. So basically, we're eating at this place called Pizza in downtown LA. It's like between the Arts District and like the Warehouse District. And we're enjoying a whole pizza. We bought an entire pizza because it was like 6 of us. It was me, Sam, Nico, Ren, Jake, maybe Christian. And we're out there eating this pizza on the corner of the street. And the next thing we know, we hear the sound of glass breaking. We're like, what the heck? And Sam basically points it out. He's like, hey! And he points at this dude who is breaking into this woman's car. I mean, she's not there. We don't know it's a woman yet. This is like after the fact. He's breaking into this car and pulling a bag out of the passenger seat. And next thing I know, like, we're all just chasing this dude. He's on the opposite corner of the street, and we are chasing this dude. And at the time, this was before we had, like, all had one wheels. This was back in the Razor scooter days. And we were all about the Razor scooters. So we all had Razor scooters. And we got on our Razor scooters and just started kicking after this dude, just pedaling hard after this guy. And he must have been like, what the heck? Because he looked back and he saw like 6 dudes on Razor scooters just like tearing towards him. And Nico, at the time, thought it was a great idea to like bring the pizza. Because, dude, you're not just going to leave the pizza. So he sees 6 dudes behind him coming after him. One of them is just holding a large, extra large pizza. So this dude takes off. He's like, no, man, I'm not about to have this. So he hops on his bike, on his like BMX bike. And Jake was like, nah, I'm not gonna do the scooter. We're going on foot here. Jake was a track professional, track and field pro. So he takes off after this guy, full sprint, 100-yard dash. And the dude is like, uh-oh. Jake starts gaining on the guy. And he chases him all the way down the block until the dude basically just chucks his bag in the hopes that like that will stop Jake, and he rounds the corner and takes off to the east side. And you know, Jake didn't catch him. I don't know what would have happened if Jake caught him. I don't want to know. And yeah, I mean that we called the police. Security guard pulled up, and there was nothing in the bag. He literally broke into her car just for like gym clothes. That was it. So put your bags in the trunk, y'all, and don't leave your pizza behind. All right, I think we're at the point here where it's time to start exporting stuff. So what I'm gonna do is hit this with a white brush because I want it to be opaque. But you know what? Here, yeah, let's do it here. Let's do it here. Dude, it was some freaking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Full opacity on this. I don't think it needs to be super fancy. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna mask it. Just a rough mask to see if this actually works. No! All right, so that's one. Let's go and export this as a PNG. I'm gonna bring this into After Effects. Yo, did I? No. 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 No, no. Dude. I drew the same one. No! Oh! Oh!
It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be chill. Oh.
Crap, dude. Freaking crap. I drew the same one twice. Oh. End of days. End of days. Hold on now. This is the center one. That's the center one. This is the what? Uh-huh. Okay. This is technically the one I needed to draw. And didn't draw! Crap. It's okay. It's okay. Still chilling. Let's work with what we got, shall we? Brutal, dude. Brutal. All right. Yo, I bet you guys knew I was doing that too. And you're like, you know what? Let's just let it happen. I'm sure one of you guys were like, Glad, stop it. It's all good though. It's all good though. Need the drawing practice, don't we? All right. This will still work though. I'm still glad to be alive and drawing. Okay, here we go. Boom. Town. All right, and then let me save this out as another PNG. That's gonna be our B. Maybe we'll come back and we'll do the C in a second, but let's bring it in here and let's see what the heck is going down. So let us assets. We got A, we got B, and is B a PNG or is it not a PNG? I guess there's only one way to find out. And that's to bring it up into our scene. Okay, yeah, we're good, we're good. We're good. What's the best way to do this? Honestly, I think I need to like render, let's see. Let's render this without the people. Background test. Let's get rid of all of this. Let's get rid of the ring. And it's literally just our background scrolling, which I know I can definitely do inside of After Effects, but I'm gonna just do it this way right now because you know, it's called BG render V1. Great. And let's go ahead and save this. We'll put it in assets, background, render V1. Go for it. Maybe while this does its thing, and it's probably the most ridiculous way to be rendering a background, let's try and beat the render and just do this again here in Photoshop one more time. And then we're gonna figure out how this goes. And boy, am I not gonna mess this up again, I promise. This is definitely the one we need to do. Confirmed, I promise. All right. Maybe we got time for one more story then, huh? Let's see. Good stories. Oh my god, okay, there's a couple. There's the track story. I'll tell you the track story. The track story is a rough one for me. A handful of times in my life I've been publicly embarrassed bad, and this is one of those times. So the track story, I am in high school, maybe 11th grade, and we have a home track meet. One second, let me pour this tea on. We have a home track meet, and it's a night meet, so it's a cold one. Freezing cold. This is in Georgia. There's like a farm chicken farm next door, and like that chicken poo is just wafting over the hills. It's smelling fierce. And I have three events, two of which are important. First event is the pole vault, right? And that's first up. A track meet is hours long, okay? Lots of events, lots of people. And pole vault comes first. I knocked that out, super solid, you know, whatever. I got like 2 hours before I do hurdles, okay? So I'm like, this is peak like DS, Nintendo DS era with the Game Shark, which basically gets you all the rare Pokemon. So we all got our DSs, we all got Pokemon, and one of our friends has a Game Shark. So we're like, let's get them Pokemon, you know what I'm saying? So we're like, all right, let's hit the middle of the field, little friend circle going, Game Shark passing around the Game Shark for hours, having a blast. And we're in sweats because it's freezing outside. And the next thing I know, I hear, oh God, I hear over the intercom, Clinton Jones, get to the starting line now. And I was like, oh my God. And it was my coach, and dude, he was so freaking pissed. Ugh. My heart sank because I look over and there's everyone at the block, at the starting block, in like runner's pose, ready to go, ready to run hurdles. And I'm like, oh my God. There's only been two times in my life that I can think that I was that stressed out, like panic attack. So I do what any dude would do. I, you know, basically start taking off my sweats as fast as I can and head over to the starting line. And as I'm doing this, I'm rushing so fast that I pull everything off, everything, down to my little naked little body. And I basically flash all the dudes in front of me. They go down. And I hear someone who's like practicing pole vault on the other side of the field. I hear him scream. He goes down. And I hear hundreds of people in the stands to my right and behind me. I just hear this wave of oh, and oh man, it was bad, guys. It was really bad. So I had no time to react. I'm like, dude, I just flashed everyone, hundreds of people, everyone in the track meet, all the parents, all the kids in the stands. And I have no choice but to just pull up my pants and run to the starting line. So, I make it to the starting line. Keep in mind, I am like not warmed up, guys. It is a cold night, and I'm already starting to cramp because the run over was not helpful. I make it to the starting line. Absolutely mortified. I look to the dude next to me and I'm like, yo, did you see that? And he was like, no. And I was like, okay, thank God. Someone didn't see it. I'm clear. Eyes on the prize. Let's run this race, dude. Let's freaking run this race. I'm pretty good at hurdles. I got the technique down. So, the starting gun goes off, and here we go. We're off, right? I hop one hurdle. There's 10 of them, by the way. I hop one. I hop two. I hop three. And the third one, I clip. Like, I clip it pretty hard. Uh-oh. Not being warmed up is starting to catch up with me. And so is everyone else. They start passing me like it's nothing. Fourth hurdle, clip that one. Fifth one, clip that one. Sixth one, seventh one, eighth one. By this time, I'm in last place, and I'm clipping every hurdle there is, dude. And by the time I get over the last hurdle, I'm in last place, of course. Everyone's crossed the finish line. And because I'm not warmed up, my body just freezes up, shuts down, and I straight up just trip over the finish line, dive roll over the finish line. And that was probably one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. It was bad. That was bad. So that's the track story. There's some other ones. That's a longer one though. Maybe that's one for another stream. What are some other embarrassing moments? That's brutal. And there's the time I almost died rock climbing, I guess. This was when me and my buddy Cliff, of course my rock climbing buddy would be named Cliff, right? This is when we weren't as smart and we were all about just having a good old time, right? And we go out to Joshua Tree, which is a very popular, famous rock climbing spot in Southern California. We go out to J Tree, and we don't have ropes at the time. We're just bouldering. Bouldering is when you climb just 10 feet without ropes, and you have a little crash pad. It's not a big deal. It's a good old time, right? And we go out there, and let me just try and make sense of this. Okay, yeah, there we go. We go out there. It's me, my buddy Casey, and Cliff. And we take the day, we start climbing. Just bouldering, climbing around. Again, no ropes. Very doable stuff. We're not climbing high, we're not doing anything like that. And we see this woman like do this no rope climb on some crazy climb. We're like, whoa, it looks doable. Let's try it. So we start it. We get about halfway through this climb, which is like, you're basically traversing, which is like scrambling laterally. We're moving laterally across this like 2 to 3 inch little like cliff little divot, and below us is just this drop. And we get halfway out the wall and we look back, or we look up, which is when the climb starts, and we're like, dude, this is so sketchy, let's not do this. So we back out of it. And we're just blown away at the fact that like she could do that without ropes. And we're like, dang, that's crazy. So we continue about our day. And we see another climb that kind of looks doable. It's this big old crack in the wall. It goes up, right? Big old thing like this. And in this, there's this crack inside of it that we're able to kind of like put our bodies into as we climb up. And we start climbing that crack, and we do it for a while, and it's a blast. It's doable, it's safe. There's no chance of us like slipping or falling because we're kind of in this crack, right? But at a certain point, the crack starts to like elevate, and it starts to get steeper and steeper, right? And we're climbing this thing, and we start passing bolts, which I didn't know. I think I knew at the time what that meant. Now I really know what that means. It's basically, it's a rope climb. It's a climb that you're gonna be clipping in for safety. So we're passing these little safety bolts, and I'm like, huh, that's odd. And stupid me, I kept climbing. And we get to the point where like it's pretty vertical, and it's like we are up there, and if we fall, it's probably not gonna be too hot, but we're still pretty confident that like we're not gonna fall. It's just one of those climbs we feel confident enough on it, right? We've been climbing a lot, but then we keep going, and we get like 2 moves from the top where Cliff is like literally below me. I have to like look down to see him, and we're kind of stuck at this point. And we realize here that it was all chill up until now, because he says to me, "Hey man, my foot is gonna give out. It's shaking really hard. You either need to keep, like, you need to keep going, because I need to get a better foothold." And I'm 1 move from the top, like thinking now, I would have a hard time going back down. So let's see what this top is like, I guess. So this is so dumb. I go for the next move, which now is I'm at the last move, and I'm sitting here like I have 2 choices. I can either, and we're like asking, like we turn back to my buddy Casey who's watching this, and he's so far away at this point. We're like, it caught up with us real quick, and we look back and we're like, "Casey, do I have a foothold?" And he's like, "Guys, I can't see anything. You guys are so far away." And we're like, uh-oh, that's not a good sign. So I have 2 choices now. I can either, I can't reach the top. I'm reaching on my tippy toes, trying to reach for the top hold, a secure hold, and I got nothing. It's just a slope that goes like this, and that's all I have. I would have had to jump, not knowing what I'm reaching for, and hope that something is grabbable up there. And Cliff is like a handful of inches shorter than me, so who knows if he would have been able to do that. I'm maxed out. My other option is to turn around. In my head, I'm like, look, if I do that, if I jump, and best case scenario, I grab something, we're not getting down. Like, we'd have to be airlifted away, or have someone call for help and have some climber like lower us. So in that moment, I'm like, dude, we gotta go down. We gotta head back down. So dumb. Like, I wish I would have said that sooner. And we're both just knuckleheads, man. We've gotten into this situation twice. 1 time was not enough. So it takes us like 30 minutes to get back down, but it was sketchy because if we would have fallen, yeah, it would have been really bad. It would have been really, really bad. So that was the rock climbing story, and I think we're done. Yay. Let's shade this thing and let's bring it into After Effects. Alrighty. Sweet. All right, I think we're good. Yeah. Just gonna mask it out, and then let's see how it animates. I'm excited. All right. Sweet. Let's bring in that C. Let's bring in that render of the background, and let me turn off Windows Ink. Finally. Be gone. Ugh. Free. All right, let's make a new project here. Sweet. This is our animated background. And then let's bring in the render for reference, because this will be kind of what we use to line up the ring with. All right, so we got A, B, and C. And we have to choose like when they snap on and off. So let's see here. Great, we got all three. And I'll put them, let's see, how are we gonna do this? I guess I'll just line it up, all of them in the middle. Right, so we'll go from one to the other. Starting with that one, going to this one, and ending on this one. Okay. All right, so it kind of has like a 3D spin to it. Awesome. So it's gonna kind of start like that. We'll have some time with that one. This one will be on the tail end. So it's basically just reversed. or symmetrical, right? Boom, and then it goes out. Spins in, spins out. Let's figure out how many frames we need of each piece. Let's start with 2. And I'm just guessing here. Take these 2. Bring them to the end. And stretch this out over time. And ideally, all we need to do really is select all of these, pre-compose it with Control-Shift-C, and that just puts it into a folder essentially. You can also go Layer, Pre-compose. We'll call this, technically it's the ring, it just has its own fancy name. And I'm gonna animate this to match our render, right? So let's just go ahead and hit T for opacity, drop it to 50, and we'll start with it, scoot it over here. P for position. And I'll go to the last frame. We'll move it over to match. And we'll find this, let's see. Basically, once it hits here, let's go ahead and move it. Boom. And then once it hits here, kind of get this over here. And then it starts to take off. Let's just see what this looks like. A little rough. And a little hard to see, to be honest. So I feel like this, maybe I probably need like 2 more or 1 more for this kind of 3D look to get that look right. Alternatively, like, I might be able to break these up and actually kind of slide them around as 3D objects and kind of fake that 3D look a little bit. I can use this and like shorten up this edge or something. I could also go in here and add a little bit more of these guys. It's tricky, yeah. So this is technically my first test here of 3D animated something. I think what I need is projecting it might be the move, actually. I wonder how far that will take me. Let's give it a shot, and then I'm probably gonna call it for today. Let's also see if I know how to project stuff off the top of my head. So that's this is the one we want. Cool. Project it onto there. See, we did frame 46. So if our camera, how's this gonna work? We need to bring in that layer as a texture. So let's go ahead and set that up. Open this guy up, grab out the diffuse image texture. And we'll grab that centered one. We want the alpha. And for the camera, we want projection. Let's see. Let me try a thing in a new project file just to test out my stuff. We want to project it onto this cube. The heck? Why? All right, so I drop this onto the cube and it's gonna look like nothing. There we go, okay. So projection, how does this work again? This goes on, yeah, okay, this changes to camera mapping, and then we select this camera. And depending on, yeah, there it is, depending on like where this object is, we see it down there. All right, I think that comes down to, can I offset this? Yeah, okay. All right, so in here, what we'll do, let's render that. And let us, actually, let's come into Photoshop. Or rather, what we can do is actually just import this because I want to make sure the aspect ratio is correct. Technically, this needs to be 3840 by 1620. There we go. So that's our actual size now. But let me do a test. So we have this guy. Let's drag this out. Make sure this is set up properly. This needs to be normal. And that goes to opacity and alpha. Awesome. So if we render this, that doesn't look good because we need to set it to projection, camera mapping, and select our camera. And that still doesn't work. If we move it up, the offset, or down rather, you see it's in there. I see it in there. But maybe I need to tile it. I don't know how to match it exactly. We can go to this UV mode. Yeah, and I see it in there. It's not moving because I think it is set to camera projection. If I set it to 1, getting it to line up exactly is actually kind of tricky. I don't know. The best way to go about that. Yeah, I don't know. That's definitely some R&D that I'd have to get into. Tricky indeed. Tricky indeed. Y'all, so I think that's it, you know. I've learned a lot here. I have some things to research in order to get this look correct and to have it work out. Maybe I just need to make more frames. Maybe I need to figure out projection mapping a little bit more. Yeah, I need some in-between frames, and I wonder if I could do it with like EV Synth or something to make the in-between frames, because I'd be here till next Christmas doing all of these frames. So yeah, it's giving me something to think about here. It was fun. I had a good time drawing, and that, again, that's the whole point of this. I want to change up the style because doing new styles is fun. But yeah, lots to get into. The week is basically my time to research, and the streams are my time to execute that research and kind of catch you guys up on where I'm at. So I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me and for hanging out during story time. I didn't know it was gonna be story time, but absolutely. All right, let's read your comments a little bit here. I'll hang out with you guys for the next 5 minutes or so, 5 or 10. Visual says you do the 3D first, export the viewport, then draw on top, and then reproject. You do the 3D first, export the viewport, and then draw on top, and then reproject. I basically did that though. I feel like I basically did that. You should have the animation on like an old scroll or piece of paper, almost like it's telling a really old story. That's fun. Blender Man, all good. You know, we all blue screen from time to time. But thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate you. Can I publish my Intuos settings on Discord? Sure. Yeah, I can do that. I'll put them in the, what channel would be best for that? Hardware? Yeah, okay. I'll do it in hardware. I'll put it in the hardware section. Let's see. Any other questions you guys have? Be here for the next 5 or 10. Am I a self-taught artist? Yeah, as in I went to a 1.5 years of tech school. Digital media arts was the degree, but I dropped out to come back out here to California to make some shorts with Freddie and pursue filmmaking. So, yeah, just YouTube tutorials and doing it, just having fun. That's how I learn. That's the way a lot of us learn these days. Let's see. Okay, he says, I said switch the last 2 animation frames. Looks like it rotates in the wrong direction as it is now. Does it? Oh, yeah, I need to mirror it. Yeah, I need to mirror it. That's the issue. Thank you. Appreciate it. Chris Ovemary has great 2D and character animator tutorials. Thank you. I'm gonna take that down. I could use all the help I can get. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's good stuff. Oh wow, you're watching VJHS, that's crazy. Yeah, it was an old, well it's not old show, but it was a show that Freddie and Matt and Will did back at Rocket Jump back in those days, kind of before, right as Corridor was starting. Video Game High School. Yeah, good times. What's my process when I write short films? Okay, I'll use this 48-hour film festival or this film project as an example. We had 48 hours to do this, and we had to write the short on Friday night so that we filmed it on Saturday. So we did not have a lot of time. So what we did was essentially, we had an idea in mind because we were basically brainstorming all the way up until this challenge, and trying to have ideas in our back pocket. And luckily we did. So what we did was laid out the idea, kind of talked out the idea. We had all these ideas in our head of like what would go into the project, all these moments, but they weren't in any sort of order. And what we did is actually we used like little note cards here, and I would just rip a note card, write down one of the moments, and lay it on the ground. And I did that for every moment we had, and then I wrote like a few note cards for the order, like you know, if you're doing a short or a movie, it'd be Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. But in this case, it was like intro to the world, set up the main character, interview other people, like the controversial side, because we did a mockumentary. So we had interviews where like this character, there was like conspiracy theories as to what happened to their disappearance. So there was like the controversial conspiracy theory section, and then it was the ending. So we basically blocked it out in note cards, and we ordered them all around. Oh, this would be better here, this would be better here. And then once you had the order of it, then we wrote it out in detail. So that was literally a block out, a sketch. It's called an outline. So we did that. And yeah, then you write from there. You make those little beats more detailed, just as you would a 3D render, same thing. Oh, thank you. Siler, I will update that. Thank you so much. Yep. So the submission link is live. And a part of it says Endless Engines. I'll switch that to BossFight. Do I have any tips on animating in slow motion? Would I animate at a higher frame per second and slow it down to where I want? Well, I think it depends on how you're doing it. If you're choosing your keyframes and you're blending between those keyframes, you may not have to do every single frame. If you're trying to slow down, say like any of the motion capture files, yes, it's helpful. I have the higher frame rate version that you can use, and that's slowed down. So it really depends. And also like I'm not the best animator, so I'm sure someone will have some better advice for you on that. When do you get to see the short film? I don't know, but I would love to post it up on my channel. When I post some random... Oh, what up, Casey? What up, son? What's going on? Casey, the composer for Endless Engines in the house. What up, dude? All right, guys, I'm at the bounce here. Time to get some food before I pass out. Y'all, much appreciated. Thank you for stopping by. It's been fun working on our art together. So, couple things just to wrap up. We have BossFight stickers. You can grab them, link in the description. It's a whole sticker sheet. They're super cool, designed by my buddy Gabe Peregrino. So grab yourself one for the challenge, collect a little challenge swag. The submission link is live. That's also in the description. You don't need to submit just because there's a link. Take your time with your art. Use all the time you got. What else? Monday, I will be on the Discord server in our little weekly meetup that we do. It'll be myself and the moderators just chatting with you guys specifically. I know that we're on a live stream right now, but I can't really talk with you guys because it's just all in chat. But on the Discord server on Monday at noon PST, you guys will actually come up on the stage. We can have a little back and forth about your render, about your art, see where you're at, talk about any problems, or just look at your cool art and look at your work in progress. So that'll be this upcoming Monday, all right? And we'll have an event on Discord side of things as well. So guys, much appreciated. Thank you so much. I'll catch y'all soon. Peace out, y'all. Later.